What in the world did Hoovie do to his Evo 10 now? What did he break this time? Let's find out. Let's get started. This is Hoovie's 2008 Mitsubishi Lancer GSR, also known as the Evo 10. We went through and did a lot of work to this thing, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, I don't remember the exact time frame. Got it running perfect. If you watch his video, which is in the link description below, the shippers did him a disservice. They ripped the entire exhaust off. They did a lot of things to this vehicle to really hurt it. We got all those things fixed, and now the car is back again. This time around, it only needed one small item, but the teardown to get to it was insane. It looks like an erector set here on top of this, like you're trying to build some crazy little toy or something. This is actually an engine hoist. It holds the engine in place while we take a lot of other parts off, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Before we dive into what broke on this thing, let's take a look around it. So here we have the Evo 10 sandwich in between two Porsches, a 928 and an older 911. Very nice little car. We'll do a video on that one here in the future. You can see it has the nice ground effects and everything as part of this Evo 10 kit. But as you watched in Hoovie's video, it needed a lot of work to get it to this point. But the paint shows well. It has a few little flakes in the clear coat here or there, but nothing too serious. It's about as clean as you can hope for. A lot of people rag on these cars pretty hard. This one is actually pretty decent. Let's head to the engine bay. So this has a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, but it's really putting out some power, about 291 horsepower. It is all-wheel drive. We're going to show you that fact that it was an all-wheel drive made this job so much harder. You really like this car, you've seen this on Hoovie's Garage, you say, man, I would love to have that Evo 10. I could see that in my driveway. Well, it's totally a possibility because of our partner, Fathom. You can enter to win this Evo 10. There's a link in the description below. You can purchase some merchandise. There's a keychain, Car Wizard keychain we've never offered before. There's coffee cups. You can have coffee with the Car Wizard every morning. All kinds of really great merchandise. And when you purchase, you enter to win. And if you become the winner, this Evo 10 will leave this lift fixed and go into your hands. Clear title and all. It'll be your car. So definitely want to thank Fathom, being a veteran-owned company. We really appreciate their support through this entire endeavor that you could possibly own this Evo 10. I'm a veteran as well. So make sure to click that link in the description below. It goes to fathom.com/carwizard and start purchasing because, again, this could be yours. So why is this thing all apart? What's wrong with this car? The clutch started acting up. Hoovie was driving this thing around. He loves bombing around on this thing. He says it drives so good, but he's been noticing that the clutch is starting to let go. Maybe it's because it has so much power. I don't know what it is, but he said this clutch, before it goes away, Car Wizard, it needs to be addressed because this clutch is kind of crappy. We definitely found out that that was the case. But before we dive into and show you all that had to come apart just to get to the clutch, let's let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around the interior and a lot of the differences between a Lancer and the Evo 10 Lancer.
So, ladies and gents, there's the steering wheel and the gauge cluster behind it. And I wish I could show you more than what is just two black eyes staring back at you, but I can't. I can't turn it on because, well, everything is really tore apart up there. But one thing you can see that is different is they have added this gauge for our air-fuel ratio, and back there is a gauge for our boost. So they have added a few things for that turbo system, but we really can't see a whole lot without the key turned on. But I imagine everything looks great. I imagine also you could check out Hoovie's video and see for yourself there as well. As we move up, the dash is a nice shape. It's a nice dark gray, kind of a charcoal color. Everything's looking good. All of our vents have all their louvers. We have a very small kind of infotainment small screen. Oh, thank you, no muffler Newton, thank you. I finally have been interrupted by a no muffler Newton fan. We have our Roxford Fosgate stereo buried back in there somewhere, but everything is looking very nice. None of the markings have been rubbed off. You can read everything very clearly. One thing that is added is this nice kind of a mesh design. It almost is similar to kind of a carbon fiber-ish look, but it's not. It just is a black and white, kind of a diamond pattern. We do have lights for our airbag system and our hazard light, and 3 turn dials for our HVAC system. As we move down, you'll see, oh wow, we have an aux port back there, and literally that is Well, the red and white auxiliary port. Nice. We have a small little door there for ashtray. And we have what makes this thing an absolute blast. We have our manual gear selector, which is attached to nothing right now, because Wizard's going to show you that, and it's really hard to operate the car when the transmission is sitting on the floor in the shop, but you'll see that in a minute. As you move back, you'll see, oh, we have a straw wrapper and 2 cup holders and another little coin spot. So lift up center console, very small little spot in there, nothing going on, just, well, plastic. As we look at our seats, these are some impressive seats. Look at the bolster on those seats. They will keep you in this car as you are drifting around those corners. I like that it says the Recaro is stitched into that headrest, and it almost kind of looks like something you would see out of like maybe a Terminator or a Transformers movie with that design there. But there we have some carbon design on the edges of that headrest as well. As we move to our door card, lots of gray, and more gray, and a little darker gray. But it's all looking good. None of the plastic is broken, and some of that plastic that went from above our footwell wraps around to the door. In the back seat, we have room for 3 people with an armrest that can go down as well, but everything is kind of covered at the moment because they're doing some work in here that needs to have those panels taken off, and the Wizard will address that later as well. The headliner looking good, not sagging, so that'd be a nice plus to have a car that doesn't have a headliner trying to encroach in your vision. And even though it's sideways, we are back to our steering wheel, and we have our lovely Mitsubishi symbol in there, even though we need to turn it a little bit to be in the right perspective, but it's looking good. Nothing really crazy going on with that steering wheel, even though it's got quite a few miles on it. So enough of this interior talk. Let's get this up in the air and see what's going on, or what's been taken out from the underneath. Wizard, there's a few things missing there.
There's a lot of things missing here. We do have the new clutch installed, as you can see here. New flywheel, clutch, pressure plate, everything ready to go. And it looks like it's fairly easy to get to. There it is. That's all you need to replace. So you just remove the transmission, right? Wrong. This is all-wheel drive, and there's tons of parts stacked on parts, more stacked on parts, and more stacked on parts before you can even remove the transmission. So let's show you guys the order of how it went. Attached to the transmission is a transaxle which sends power to the rear, but you can't take that off until you first take off the rear drive shaft and all of its mounts and everything. Let's go take a look at the table. A cart full of parts. So here we are at the cart full of parts. There's mounts and bolts and brackets and CV shafts and the main rear drive shaft, cross members, tons of parts just to get the drive shaft and all the parts off. And before you can take the transmission out, you have to take the part out that connects all those things we just showed you to the transmission, and there's a transfer case right here. It's right in this area, and it's separate from the transmission. Let's take a look at that part. So here we are. This is our kind of a differential slash transfer case. It sends power into the transfer case here and then to the right CV shaft. But what about the rear? You have to send power to the rear. It goes through this where the drive shaft connects here to the rear. You can't get the transmission out till you unbolt this. This is phase 2 of getting the transmission out. And after removing all of that stuff, you finally can take the bolts loose of the transmission and get it out of the car. Let's go take a look at the transmission. None of this can be done on the ground with a floor jack and a creeper. You'll get killed. Trust me guys, you get hurt. All these tools, which are pull jacks and a transmission jack, all these things you see beside me are absolutely necessary to do this job. There's so many parts that have to come off. And as I showed you with the erector set thing holding the engine up, you get something wrong on that, it could fall on you. So this is not an easy in the driveway job. Here's our transmission. And that transfer case thing I just showed you bolts right here. And there's where power goes into the transfer case right here. It's this huge thing bolts right here and sends power to the rear wheels. That has to come off to get this off. Nothing's wrong with our transmission. Everything's in good shape. It just had a bad clutch.
Okay, Wizard, isn't that a bit overkill to take all this stuff apart? Can't you just, break apart the two, the transmission and the clutch, and slip it in and out?
No, you can't, because the transmission sits right in here, and if you slip it back, it's just going to hit this frame rail. It won't allow you to do anything, so you have to tilt the engine down. And even at that, remember all those parts I just showed you, they sit up on top of this, of the subframe. How are you going to fit this whole contraption around? You can't. Much as you want a cheat code to get through, and so I'll just do it real quick, there is no quick way to do the clutch on these Evo 10s. You can see we have the bolts loose here on the subframe. We had to even get all this stuff out. It's a huge ordeal to get this thing apart. There are times you can do that on some front-wheel drive cars. There's none of this all-wheel drive business going on. You can just tilt the engine transmission down just a little bit, and then the transmission comes right out the side. You really have to remove the transmission because the CV shafts are connected to it. You have to get those off. There's lots of linkages and things. And then you don't want to try to center your new clutch disc with this much room in between. You can't do it. You see right here, this is our centering tool. How are you going to get in there to be sure that you got everything centered when you've only got this much room to even get in there? You can't, guys. You want to do the job right, you got to remove the transmission. So even half the drivetrain is removed. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the car. The front brakes on it, they were fairly new. I think we put new rotors and pads in the front, so that's going to be brand new. The Bilstein struts are not leaking, they're in good shape. Same situation over here, new pads and rotors. Struts are good. We did have to buy this piece right here when Hoovie picked up this vehicle, or when they actually took delivery of it. The tow truck driver or the truck driver, they ripped this all to shreds. We had to get a good used elbow here that connects to the exhaust. This entire piece was broken and stretched and destroyed. The accordion was stretched and destroyed, the accordion part of the exhaust. All this has been replaced with good used parts and in good shape. We've got our oxygen sensors were ripped and torn from that wonderful escapade that the tow truck driver did for Hoovie. That's all been fixed. Here's our differential. This is a good used one, because the old one would not engage. When Hoovie purchased this, we got it running and driving, but the all-wheel drive just would not work. We finally found a good used, I don't know if you call it a Haldex unit or whatever, I don't think it's Haldex that makes it, but the system was dead. That's been repaired. The all-wheel drive works and engages properly now. It all works as intended. We have new rotors and pads in the back. Again, our Bilsteins are in good shape, not leaking. Sway bar links are good. CV boots are good. And we have the same situation over here. New brakes, CV boots are good, sway bar link is good, and the strut is good. So this little box here that looks like a charcoal canister is actually not. This is the control motor that operates the all-wheel drive system, engage and disengage. This was bad as well. We had to get a good used unit. You don't go buy new parts for an Evo 10 from 2008 for this system. And if you did, it would total the car. So we got good used parts, and again, everything operates as intended. Let's get this thing back on the ground. So now the old clutch, the one that was slipping pretty bad, let's take a look at the burned up old clutch. So this is basically the full unit, basically assembled. This is what it looks like. But when you start taking it apart, here's our flywheel. We'll set it over here. You can already see it's got some serious hot spots in it. I can feel that, guys. Those are divots. This thing was really bad. You can see this discolored. It's brown, and in some places almost blue. It was slipping very, very badly. Let's take a look at the disc. Here's our clutch disc. And as I set it over here, you can see some of the materials almost down to the rivets. I can just start to touch the rivet on some of these. Very, very thin material. So when somebody says they burn up their clutch, what does that mean? It's just like brake pads. They eventually wear down. This wears down as well. This is like brake pad material, very similar to it. As it's spinning, this wears down and gets thinner. You can actually see the nylon or whatever cords, it's worn down so much that it's very thin, way too thin. When this gets too thin for the pressure plate to keep a good solid pressure on it, when you give it power, it just spins and slips and overheats, as you saw the discoloration, and starts slipping. There's nothing you can do to fix that but do a clutch job on it and put all new components. The last part of this is the pressure plate itself, and it looks bad as well. You can see all these rub spots. It was discolored. It's like a blue ring around here, and there's some serious hot spots going on. I can feel those. It's like a dip. This thing is very uneven, and it's just gotten so hot from slipping that it's caused all this. As we look at the other side, there's not much to see. You can see the little fingers that do the actuation of the pressure plate in and out. Nothing looks bad here. Definitely had some problems over here. So these parts look pretty bad, but you can see why now. This thing's all torn apart. It had to be fixed. And as you just saw when we did the underbody inspection, it has all new clutch, pressure plate, and flywheel, brand new. These will be going in the scrap bin, the scrap metal pile. These are no good anymore. And once we're done with this vehicle, it'll have a great clutch, good engagement, and that slipping problem will be gone.
So, Wizard, how does your old erector set work there?
So basically, it's a blue bar here that goes from one frame horn to the other frame part of the vehicle, so you're not hurting anything by putting the weight of the engine on it. And then you hook a chain to some good strong bolt holes on the engine that can hold it up and not hurt anything. And that can be adjusted with this nut up and down, how high or low you want it. And then suspend the engine in the air while you work on it. This yellow leg that's on here is to keep this blue bar from rolling and falling over. It gives it some stability. So it's kind of a universal kit. It can be used on multiple different vehicles. We've used this on trucks and cars and all kinds of different things. If we didn't have this tool holding up the engine right now, it would break all the wiring harnesses and fuel lines. The engine would literally almost just fall out. You can't have that happen, so it has to be held up with this contraption. We call it an erector set. It looks kind of like one, but it's actually just an engine transverse bar, basically what it's called. So a support arm is what this is. Very, very handy. You have to have one of these if you're doing a lot of front-wheel drive work. So definitely want to get a video out to you guys to show you how complicated it was just to do a clutch job on an Evo 10 and how it's going to be in so much better condition as far as clutch engagement once we get this job done. Again, if you want to win this car, make sure to click the link in the description below. It takes you to our partners Fanathem. Really enjoy doing business with them. 2 veteran-owned businesses working together for your benefit that you can possibly win this Hoovie's Garage Evo 10. Also, if you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on this or any other car in the shop, like this bar right here, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we have in the shop are listed for sale there, and if you purchase any of them, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's so many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.